First, welcome to episode 2 of Primary Market. We have artist Dylan Gallo here on the show, and I'm really excited to hear his story and hear his perspective on art and everything that he wants to do in the art world. So, welcome, Dylan.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
My pleasure. Okay, so I guess what I'd like to start is, where are you located?
I live in LA, but right now I'm in Florida visiting family.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I would love for you to just tell a little bit about your artistic journey, how you got into being a painter or an artist, and where it all began.
All right. So, like most people, I started like making art as a little kid, but just never any intention to make it a career. But I'd say I first started like becoming intentional about it when I was 13. I had an iPod Touch, and I would just obsessively take photos of just whatever I found interesting. So it started with photography for sure.
Wow.
I just, yeah, obsessively taking photos of random stuff, landscapes, just whatever I found interesting when I was 13. And then my parents saw that I was like, it was like the only thing I was doing. So they
Was that
bought me
in LA or
like a
was that in
digital
Florida?
DSLR camera when I was 14.
Wait, sorry, was that in LA or
And
was that in Florida?
um, that was in LA. So I was born in LA and back and forth Orange County growing up. Um, but then I came back. So I grew up. I grew up. I'd say like when I was younger, it was Orange County mainly, but all my
Uh-huh.
family was in LA, and just back and
Like
forth is
cousins,
just family.
distant?
Yeah, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Like the majority of people were in LA, and a lot of people are in Florida too. But growing up at the time, everyone was in LA, so I was the one coming up for the weekends. I had to move. Like I had to constantly come up for the weekend. But I moved back permanently to LA 2015, my last year of high school. So I've been back there since. Yeah.
Awesome. And did you go to college?
No, so I went for a little bit. I went to SMC, Santa Monica College, is community college in LA. But just stuff I was going through a lot of just like family trauma at the time to where I couldn't really focus. It was just really tough for me to focus. And I was just like, I'm worrying about like I had so much real life stuff I was worrying about. The last thing I was focusing on was like more school. I just remember graduating high school being like, holy shit, like I'm free. Like I don't have to do any more school. But it
Wow.
was I definitely tried to push myself, and like I always wanted to learn more. But I remember something that was really memorable for me when I was in college was I was in my it was I think it was economics. It was no, it was English. I don't know. It was one of the classes I had to take. And I
Hmm.
remember the teacher we were taking a midterm, and I remember the teacher like just being cool with everyone having all the answers like on their phone, like everyone had the answers on their phone on their laps, like no one's trying to hide it, and like the teacher couldn't care less. And
Wow.
I remember thinking, I'm like, why am I even here? Like I'm not here to like yeah, I'm here to learn, but like I couldn't care less about the degree. So that was like something that was like a big turning point for me of like I don't like I feel like I shouldn't be here. And
Wow.
yeah, so that I was 19 at the time, and I just I mean I should have, I mean could have, should have pushed through it, but I just remember being like, I should just be teaching myself stuff. Like, I don't want to
Wow.
learn from like this type of environment.
So at what point were you in creating art at that time?
Um, so when I was 19, I was still doing photography. Photography was my
Mhm.
main thing, but I transferred from photography to, I started drawing like intentionally when I was 16 after I
Mhm.
watched this documentary called The Devil and Daniel Johnston. And I remember being like mind blown at the time of just like, it was just like it opened up a new world for me. And I remember,
Tell us what was that about?
so it's about this artist, Daniel Johnston. Um, he's like an underground legend of this guy who he's like had a lot of mental disorders, like autistic, schizophrenic, one or two other things, but he was just like out of his mind. But he was like a savant at the same time, like the type of dude who like can't tie his shoes, but like can tell you what the meaning of life is, type of thing.
Yeah.
So I was just like I was captivated of like because in my I felt like such a like an outcast alien at the time to where I was like,
Mhm.
okay, there's people that are going through way crazier stuff than me. So it like grounded me a little bit. But I remember
Wow.
watching that, and there was this one point, just for like an example of how nuts he was. There was this a scene in the documentary where his dad was a pilot, and they were flying like a personal plane, and it was just him and his dad in the plane, and he started getting like these schizophrenic voices that told him to I forgot exactly what they were, but the gist of it was take the keys out of the plane and throw them out of the window. So he did, and then they crashed the plane into trees, and they both survived. But I remember just being like, "Holy shit! Like this dude's nuts!" And like
You
I
got to
was
be
just
locked up.
captivated.
That guy's
Yeah,
got to be locked up.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, he was in and out of mental institutions. Um, but I related to him on like a creativity level, I guess. Not really the being out of your mind, but the
Well,
creativity
no
level.
judgment. So yeah, so please tell us about like the work that he was doing and you know how it resonated with you.
Yeah, so he there was a lot of early in the documentary there's a lot of home videos that he did with his brother that I really related to of just like not knowing necessarily what you're doing, like feelings based. Like not from an institution, not like I'm doing this or I shouldn't be doing this because it's the right way, it's the wrong way, just complete raw emotion. And I was like, this
Yeah,
is like my guy.
the human
This is my guy.
experience. Wow. I see that very much in your work.
Thank you,
That's
man. I
awesome.
really appreciate that.
My
But
pleasure.
16, that's what made me start drawing. Of like I like literally as soon as the documentary stopped, I ran upstairs to my room and started drawing. And so his majority of his
Wow.
work is like notebook drawing,
Mhm.
like very childlike, but also there's like a very dark side. So I think because he was so out of it mentally, he was very like spiritually in tuned, and like what came with that was like this dark energy. So you'd be like, I'm talking to God, I'm talking to the devil, la la la, all this stuff, and it's like it would show in his work of like this guy is like not on this planet. So it was very
Wow.
authentic. But
It's incredible.
yeah, it was always yeah. But so
So
him, he was a big influence, and then Basquiat. Those two at when I was 16, they kind of like widened my perspective of like there's a whole different world out there that you don't know.
wow. And so just to
Yeah.
bring it back one little notch of how would you describe what the photography was or what your childhood instinct to photography like? What were you drawn to? You said kind of landscapes and things like that. So like I don't know, like what was ringing your bells back then?
I don't know. It was just I've always had I was always like a very like observant kid, and like a thinker, I guess, but
Mhm.
maybe just looking back, I guess like composition was always my main thing of like this feels right to my eye. Like this looks right. Like so I would take like pictures of trees, like picture like a row of palm trees, just because it satisfied how my eye looked and like this
Mhm.
makes sense to me. Of like they're all in a
Wow.
row. It's very uniform. Like my first style of photography was very like by the books, like almost like OCD perfection. I was very inspired by like Wes Anderson movies. So I had
Mm.
this thing of like I have to do everything in the correct way, like everything needs to be lined up, like very intentional of like where everything should be and why, like to where it was like kind of
Wow.
crippling, like too intentional. But I would make I couldn't really at the time I wasn't drawing and I wasn't painting, so I was really trying to make my photographs look like paintings. So I would edit them very abstract, like bright, vivid colors, like drown out all the lights, like make the darks really, really dark, just like very abstract.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then okay, so now you're into Dave Johnston. Is that's his name, Dave Johnston?
Daniel.
Daniel. Oh, my
Yeah.
handwriting. Daniel and Basquiat. So like you start to create work. So you're moving on from the Wes Anderson vibes.
Yeah.
Paint us the picture, if you will, of what
So,
of how this journey continues.
so it went from Wes Anderson inspired to like very like correct by the books. It was almost like yeah, like almost crippling perfectionism to where I saw Daniel Johnston and Basquiat and I was like, you can do messy work and it can look well.
Wow.
So
It
that kind of
set you
like
free.
yeah, it really did. Cause I was yeah, I just had this like I have to do this the correct way. Like this is the correct way. And then I saw messy, dirty looking work and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is what I have to do." It just yeah, it gave me a permission to have like raw emotion.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
then so you start you run to your notebook and you start creating. And then did you think you could make a career out of it, or like how did that kind of progression unfold?
Yeah, I guess I've always had this like almost delusional confidence from a little kid, but I didn't I didn't really start to believe I could turn it into a career until like 3 years ago. But it was always at the times, like when I was 16, it wasn't like I'm gonna
Hmm.
be a big artist and this and that. I was just like it was just emotions based of like I just need to do this for myself. Like of course that was the end goal, but that wasn't like the main thing.
Wow. And then did you start to kind of learn about the art world and other artists, or did you kind of just stay focused on your own creation, or like what were the next steps in all of that?
So at the time when I was like 16, 17, not I didn't have any artist friends. I didn't have like I was in like the suburbs. I was in the suburbs.
Suburbs of Orange County.
Yeah, like right outside Irvine.
Okay.
And like my life was basketball at the time. Like so
Wow.
all my friends were basketball. No one made art, no one like did anything creative in that sense. So I was kind of just like I was always isolated because like I'd rather be making art by myself than like going to the mall and just walking around with my friends. I mean like not that I wouldn't, but like I could only take so
Right.
much of it to where I was like, I don't know, it's just like my intuition told me like you need to be making stuff like for yourself, by
Wow.
yourself. And it wasn't until like I didn't get introduced to like my peers in the art world until like 3 4 years ago. Like I just always felt like Like I'm the only person I know in real life that makes art. Like of course I was aware of other artists and I looked up to other artists, but I didn't have any artist friends. And that kind of
Wow.
to about yeah, like 3-4 years ago.
So then you're in LA and you're starting to make work. And like, how did that kind of unfold with, meeting other artists and kind of getting into an art scene or
So
whatever it unfolded?
so it started online. It started online. I'm trying to think. Started online. I followed this artist named Bryant Giles, who he's still doing his stuff. But that was like my that was like my window into like the art world of like this guy my age and he's like he has success. So I just kind of like followed what he did.
Is he in LA?
I'm not sure. I think he's like constantly moving around, but I don't think
Okay.
he's in play. But I remember I followed his Instagram. And then
Mhm.
he reposted on his story a drawing of another artist named Alex Headlam, who's a friend that I'm close with. But that kind of like introduced me into like um, yeah, that introduced me into like the art world of like aside from like blue chip galleries and like going to a museum and stuff like that introduced me into like artists my age, artists like doing the same thing I'm doing. And then I started following him on Instagram, and it was I was never there was never like any big intention of just like I like this guy's art so I'm going to follow it. And then
Hmm.
I on Christmas 2021, I took a lot of shrooms, and I was looking through Instagram and I saw one of his drawings, or he's like drawings, digital work, like a bunch of different stuff. I saw something he
Hmm.
did, and I was like my perspective widened. I was like, I get it, like on a spiritual level. Aside from like, oh, I
Oh,
like this because it looks cool. It was like
right.
it like hit me in my gut. So I'm like, holy shit. And at the time, I wasn't. I stopped making art from when I was like 20 to 23 because I was
And
just
how
like,
old are you now?
I'm
Have a
27.
reference.
I'm 27 now. But at the so
Okay.
20 to 23, I stopped making art like completely. Like no photography, no drawing, no painting, like nothing. I mean, here and there I would do something, but it was never like it wasn't like how it is now. But it was just I was going through a lot of stuff and I was like in a self-destructive phase and just like I was just going through it. But it's
Going
life.
through it like on a health basis, on a love basis, on a financial, like what were you going through a little bit?
Mental for sure.
Mental.
So yeah,
Oh,
without getting too into it,
mark of the mark of a good artist, the mark of a great artist. Now we're talking. I will
yeah,
lean in.
yeah. So 19 to 23 was definitely my toughest mental years of just like I'm just like trying to be alive right now. Like I'm not worried about like progressing in any way. I'm just trying to like maintain. So I
Hmm.
mean, my without turning into a therapy session, but like the
Oh, we're here for therapy or whatever you feel like sharing. Like, I want to fucking know. I want to
all
know
right. So
what makes a great dick.
so so my dad went to prison from when I was 17 to 21. Like the worst time to not have your dad in your life. And
Yo,
I
for
was
real.
so that's when it started to like I was just kind of like trying to grasp my new reality of like this is your life. Like you're not watching a movie, you're not like hearing a story, like this is your life that you're living. And I couldn't really grasp it for like a long time because I grew up with my dad and like I was used to him always being there. So it was like
Yeah.
just this like curtain pulled of like this is what you think your reality is, and then your curtain pulled like this is what it actually is. And I was like, oh my god, like I can't handle this. So I'm just like
It's heavy.
heavy drinking, like just drink by myself, like just really depressing stuff. But I mean,
Hmm.
it's it's a part of the story, and
Yeah.
I
So,
got through it, and I'm glad I'm glad I'm past it.
So congrats. Were you coping with like shame of it, or were you coping with missing him, or
Yeah.
like, what was triggering you about that scenario? And I'm sorry that that happened.
No, yeah. I'd say both. Probably, yeah, definitely the shame of it, of like, yeah, shame of it, and then, yeah, missing him, and then just the reality of the situation. Like the only way I could talk to him was through the prison phone, where you get the automated voice message of like, "You have
Uh,
inmate la 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 calling you," and I'm like, I can't, like, I'm not gonna not talk to my dad. So it's like it
yep.
was just this reality of like, fuck, dude, like this sucks
Mm.
ass. Like this really sucks. But it definitely like gave me some bulletproof skin to where, and I'm glad it happened at that time and not now, because it built me up to where it's like I've gone through so much stuff to where it's like, anyone could say anything to me and I'm like, bro, you have no idea. Like that, like say or think whatever you want, like I'm chilling.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah,
congrats on that.
thanks.
So, okay, so you kind of are back through that difficult period,
Yeah.
and now you found artists that inspire you. And like, what to you is the art world at that time, like early 20s, and then how did your kind of perspective of what the art world is kind of evolve?
So at the time, early 20s, I'd say a lot of it was, for me, a lot of it was like prior to me connecting with other people online, I was only going to museums and galleries. Like that's the only, and like documentaries and movies,
Yeah.
but just stuff that I'd have to find on my own. I didn't really know, I didn't know anything unless I found it myself. Like no one was really showing me anything. No one, like my dad is into art. Like, he's into art, but it's not like one of his main passions. Like he would show me stuff here and there, show me musicians, movies, directors, stuff like that. But
Okay, we got to know. If you feel comfortable, I got to ask what he did or didn't do, allegedly or whatever.
nah, he was a drug trafficker for like since
That's so badass, dude.
yeah, since before I was born, and he was like really successful. Like he was like a millionaire from it. But so I and he hit it really well to where like we lived in the suburbs. Like I there was just
Uh-huh.
always this there was just always this thing of like, damn, my dad is always home and he has so much money. And it's like he doesn't go to work. Like and you I just kind of like we should, like me and my brother just never really thought about it that much. Or like when we did think about it, I guess the rationalization was like, oh, he sells weed. And it's like, oh, that's not that bad. But it wasn't weed. It was dark, it was like dark shit. Yeah, like dark shit. But that was like the rationalization of like, oh, dad like grows weed, or like he sells weed, and like that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So, but
Wow.
when I actually learned what it was, it was
Yeah.
like, fuck, like this is nuts, dude. Like
Yeah.
it felt like I remember finding out when I was 16 or 17. Um, I like I was watching. I remember watching Breaking Bad at the time, and I was like, dude,
Just to reference it.
and I was like, this is my life right now. Like this is really what I'm going through. And I remember I felt it so much. I had to stop watching the show because it was like it triggered me too much. So I was like, I mean, not all the details, but like vaguely is like I had a dad that was like hiding like a very nefarious job and lived in a nice house, and like unless you didn't ask you would never know. Like so it was just like, yeah, I started to see like parallels to my life into the show, and I was like, this is too much, like I can't watch this show. And I remember when I was like, so yeah, I was 17, and I remember at the time my mom she so he gets arrested in Hawaii because like some dude owed him money or something, and the guy was like tapped in with the feds of like, we caught you, if you help us catch this guy, we'll give you a lesser sentence or whatever the case.
Yes.
So
Someone sung. Someone
exactly.
sang.
So my dad gets set up trying to meet up with this guy in Hawaii of like, this guy owes me 100K, I'm gonna go get 100K from him. He goes, and it's like, I mean, I didn't see it obviously, but from what he told me, it's like straight out of the movies of like, get on the fucking ground, la la la, like fucking SWAT team, insane shit. And I'm like, I like, so that's when it started to like my reality changed of like, and I went to my first year and a half of high school. I went to like a nice private school, so it was very like, I was living like the white suburban, like perfect life from the outside. And then just this
Wow.
whole like this whole switch
Seriously.
of like, bro, this is not your life. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was heavy. It was super heavy. But I remember at the time I was at my cousin's wedding. He's like 15-ish years older than me. 15, 20 years older than me. I was at his wedding in Vegas. And my dad was supposed to meet up with us there, and he never came. And I was like asking my mom over and over, like, where's dad? Like, he wasn't answering his phone for like 4 or 5 days. So that's why I was like, I knew something was wrong. Of like, he never, like, maybe he won't answer his phone for like a day, but he'll never go like 4 or 5 days without answering his phone. So I'm like, something's wrong. And then my mom's like, something happened, but like, I'm not going to tell you here. I'll tell you when we get home. So for like a couple of days, I'm just like, what the fuck could have possibly happened? And then we get home. She tells me, and I don't know if this is just my mom or this is the actual scenario, but I remember her writing on a piece of paper, the house might be bugged. We have to go talk outside in the backyard. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what could this possibly be about? So she wrote that on a piece of paper, and then we go and talk out in the backyard, and she tells me everything, and is like, your dad's facing like 10 years. And I'm like, the first thing that popped in my head was 27, because I was 17 at the time. I'm like, damn, like, I'm not going to see my dad till I'm 27. Like, that was the first thing I thought of. So that was, and I immediately, she told me that in the backyard. And then I just went upstairs and I started playing 2K, because I was like, I need to go play video games right now. Like, I have no idea what to do with myself. Like, I need to just not think of this. So
And any
that's when it,
siblings?
like,
You
that
have
was the big, yeah, I have two half siblings that are both older than me. So both my parents met with a kid each, and then they had me. So I have a
wow.
older brother who's 32. I think he's 32, and then my sister is, she's 9 years older than me. So whatever that makes her, 36, I think. But it was kind of like a off and on only child thing, because my brother grew up with his real mom and his stepdad in Utah, and he would come back and forth for holidays, vacations, birthdays, stuff like that. So I would only see him maybe like 4 or 5 times a year tops for like a couple weeks at a time. And then my sister, she has high functioning autism, so it was never really like like a normal older sister situation. It was always like people, my mom catering to her. I mean, like, give like giving her the help that she needed. But
Yep. Yep.
she went to a. It got to a point where it was just like it was just detrimental all around. Like to where she had to go to like a kind of like a boarding school for people with autism when she was like 14, 15, because it was just like we couldn't help her in the way that she needed, and she needed
Well,
like structured help. So at that time, so she's 14. I'm like 7, 8. So that I'm like, I
mhm.
have two siblings, but I'm home alone by myself all the time. So it's like I was like yeah, off and on, only child type of thing.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get back to you moving to LA and kind of meeting some other artists that are creating today. and you're developing your idea of what the art world is
Yeah.
or was. Like, were you, when you were going to museums and stuff, or still today, like, are like, what is your perspective? Are what are you taking in? Who are your inspirations historically? All that sort of thing.
Yeah. So now I mean at the time when I was high school, early 20s, I'd go to galleries and museums, just not really with any specific intention. Just like I just want to go look at art. Like that was basically it. I just want to go look at art. But now I go and I'm very intentional of like I want to be inspired by something. I want something to hit me. I want to see something I've never seen before. Or I want to see a painting that I have seen before, but I have see it in a new light. Like I'm just open. I want to feel something. So that's
Hmm.
what I do now. And if I really like if I'm really inspired by something, I'll take notes on it, take pictures, and then just kind of bring it into my headspace. So it's just kind of sitting there. And then if I really am inspired by it, it'll naturally come out when I'm making something. It won't be like, oh, I'm gonna make something because I liked it. Like some of my stuff is there's obviously intention with it, but the main intention is like I'm just like pouring from the back of my head and
Wow.
I start analyzing it after, and I don't like I just kind of like my just like in the simplest way, I'm just making what I want to look at. Like that's it. I'm making what I want to look at, and that usually pulls out the best stuff for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing to be able.
Yeah.
And so, to what extent, I feel like that's the artist's dream to be able to, um, just purely create what your soul wants to create. And how do you kind of walk that line between what you think might sell and what needs to be created?
I mean, I mean, I've thought about it, but I've never really worried about what would sell or what wouldn't sell. Just because like, if I think too much about what people want, it,
Hmm.
it gets rid of what I know I want. So like, of course, like there's a balance of like give the people what they want, but like you're telling the people what they want at the same time. So
Yeah.
I've always been drawn to more like I'm making this for me. I'm making this for myself, and it's a bonus that other people like it.
And that naturally kind of brings people in.
Yeah, for sure. I
Or the
mean,
right.
I used to be like that. Like in high school, I was very like crippling of like what do people like? What do people like? And it was like, yeah, it was like debilitating to where I
Mhm.
think that may be a part of the reason why I stopped making stuff when I was like 19, 20. Because I felt like I was like pouring my heart into it. And I'm like, damn, like I couldn't be more passionate about this. And it feels like no one cares. Like, no one cares. Like, why am I doing this? And then I went through those couple of years of just negative stuff. And then I got to a point where I was like, I guess it was just like a light bulb moment of like, I have to make art for myself or else like, I don't know what else I'm doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I noticed, so I found you on Instagram because some like an art critic, I think We Open
Yeah.
posted your, who I
Yeah.
think is awesome, his like art critiques.
Yeah.
How did he find,
He,
or,
that story within itself is nuts. There's so many like kismet, universe, God scenarios that have happened on my journey. So a lot of people think that I paid him or I because I guess some people do, but I'm
no, that was before people were paying him.
yeah, exactly. But I remember like people within my circle, like like people in the art like the art community on Twitter were like, "How much did that cost?" I'm like, "Bro, I didn't pay $1." So how it happened was I saw one of his reels of him critiquing someone, and I remember he said something to the effect of, if people put words on their paintings, it basically means like they don't know what to say, so they have to say it in words. And I remember I felt some type of way about it because I was like, I use words, like fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I use words, fuck this guy. And I was so like, I was heated because I was like, he's right, but like he hasn't seen my shit yet. So I commented, I said something like, I forgot exactly what I said, but I said something like, that's not true. Why don't you go make your own art or something like that? Something like that. And then he replied something like, "Oh, I do make my own art," or something to where it wasn't argumentative, but
Right.
I wrote something. I was pissed. Why don't you go make your own art then? Something like that. And then it was like at nighttime, and then I completely forgot about it. And then I go to sleep, and then I wake up in the morning, and like 15 people message me, sending me the video that like he. So I commented that, and then I guess it drew him to look at my art. So I commented that. I went to sleep, and I woke up the next morning, like 15 people, like in the art, like 15 peers, messaged me the video, and they're like, "Dude, look at this." And then I was just like
Oh,
I was like mind blown. I was like, "No fucking way!" And it felt so like I hit this like a checkpoint because I was looking for like validation for so long. I mean, people have told me they like my art, like friends and family, but it's different when a stranger likes your art, and it's different when someone who knows what they're talking about likes your art. So it was just this weight off my chest of like, oh my god, like I'm not crazy. Like there is something here because it was for so long. It's like you have to believe in yourself more than anyone else believes in yourself. And it's like I got to a point where I was like, I don't know if I have any more energy to do this. It's a lot. And then I saw that video, and I'm just like I started crying because I'm just like, holy shit, man! Like I'm not. I was like, in my head, I'm like, am I fucking delusional? Like, am I just like this crazy dude who like wants to make good art, and like my art is shit, and like, there's a lot of negative self talk that comes in when you don't have that big of a support system. So that
and
that video,
a homeless person, who is crazy also might be a genius, but who's making art, like,
exactly.
also might think that their art is the like supreme stuff or something like that. Yes, delusion is real, like, and it's necessary to be a little bit or a lot of bit delusional too.
Exactly. I forgot where, but there's this quote of like, you could be the best piano player in the world, but if you're playing only to yourself in your room, like no one's going to know that you even exist. Like, and it felt like this moment of like, holy shit, like I exist. Like people know I
Yeah.
exist. I'm not just like some
Wow.
kid making art in my room anymore. It was like a
That is
big,
really cool. And
big moment.
also, you have to have the balls. You have to have balls. I mean, you come from a fucking lineage of balls.
Yeah.
So, but you have to have fucking balls to make the type of art that you make because it's an artist's art. It's for the trained eye almost. And so like, um, I think in time, uh, it can get appreciated by the masses, but your nuances are, very deep.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No
Yeah.
doubt,
It's
my
just,
pleasure. That's what attracted me to smash that follow button.
thanks. Yeah. I think I got to a point where I'm like, I have nothing to lose. Like, I think that's really where a lot of success comes from. A lot of people in many different walks of life, of like, you're at rock bottom and you're like, I literally have nothing to lose. So why not do exactly what I want to do? And like, that's the point where I was at. I'm like, I'm drinking heavy every day by myself, like the most depressing shit you could think of. And I'm like,
What's your cocktail of choice?
yeah. I mean, I would no, I would drink. I would now. I don't drink. I mean, I drink a little bit, but the past 6 months, I've had like less than 20 drinks. Like more
That's
health reasons than anything, but mental too. It's
yeah,
like I'll have, not that I won't drink, but I'm not drinking to get drunk anymore. Like
right.
I'll drink, but I'm not like, let's get shit faced. Like I just don't do that
But when you were
because I went
drinking,
through that.
not to get in the program with you, but when you were drinking, like what would you fucking suck down?
I would down just liquor, just straight out of the bottle, like vodka, tequila, like zero pleasure. All like I'm just straight numbing
Numbing.
myself. Yeah, not
Damn.
pouring this shit in a glass, like drinking
Right.
fists, like just like I need to not think anything right now. I need to
Wow.
just be a vegetable. And that, I mean, I would I would do that with weed too, but weed, it's like you can only get so high from weed to where you just
Oh
like
my God.
to where you're like, I'm just tired. Like I'm not even high anymore. I'm
No,
just tired.
for me, when I smoke a ton of weed, I get scared.
Yeah, exactly. That too. I'm not trying to get all paranoid and schizo. Yeah, it's not fun.
So, okay. Well, like it sounds like you're on an incredible journey, and I've noticed like on your Instagram and you got your Star of David, some spirituality and some quotes and things that you've posted. So,
Yeah.
can you kind of give us a little taste of your spiritual journey, and then we'll tie that into, how it ties into your art.
Yeah. So I mean, I've always, like, looking back now, I've always been a naturally spiritual person, like from a like little kid, like 4 or 5 years old. But it wasn't like it was just my soul coming out of me. It was never like, oh, I'm doing these spiritual practices. It was just who I was in my raw form. Like my phone, my screensaver on my phone is a picture of me when I'm four, like just doing this pose of just like this like peaceful little kid, and it just came out of me. Like there was no direction. Like my dad took the picture, and I asked him like, "Did you tell me to do that?" And he's like, "No, dude, you just did that." And
Yeah.
I had this other picture of me when I was like seven, somewhere between 7 and 9 years old. It's on my Instagram, but I was at school and we're doing some like face mask project or something to where like we have like these paper mache masks on our face and we're like all outside letting them dry. And I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, I'm literally meditating in the picture, like just like
Wow.
naturally. Like every other kid is like, they're doing whatever, they're being a kid. But for whatever reason, I'm sitting there and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I've always been like in my head. I remember in fourth grade, I think, either fourth or fifth grade, I think fourth, we were doing this project where we were learning about idioms. And I remember I couldn't think of something to do, and my teacher was like, "Oh, you should do your head is in the clouds," because I was constantly not there. I was constantly like zoning out. Like I was never. I mean, maybe it was because of like stuff going on at home, to where I was just always zoning out. But that was like, if you ask anyone that like went to elementary school with me from like a little kid, I'm like zoning out. Like I was not there. So I was just naturally, I guess, there was a natural spirituality to me from birth, I guess. But intentionally, it
Maybe
started.
like a reincarnated soul.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. I I try not to think about it too much because it gets kind of heavy. But
Yeah.
I I don't know. I definitely like I definitely know like I have like angels watching over me because there's been a lot of stuff that's happened to me where it's like I could have been dead, and like I not should be dead, but like I easily could have died. Like
Uh-huh.
like for example, there was I was like 22, so it was in those dark years, and I remember I went to, at the time, a friend's house to go watch some UFC fights. in Riverside. And I was living in LA, so it's like about, an hour drive.
And that's words.
So I go to this person's house, and we're just drinking. And I'm in the phase where I'm like, I'm not drinking casually. I'm not like socially drinking. Like, I'm drinking to fucking black the fuck out. So
Word.
I'm drinking, and I black out within maybe like 30 minutes of me getting there. And, and, my friend at the time, I remember, coming to, of him just screaming in my face, like, get the fuck out of my house, get the fuck out of my house. And I was like so confused, like, what the fuck is going on right now? But I guess I, was being a belligerent dumbass. And like, so I got kicked out of the place, but I'm like blacked out drunk. And I remember being so like I felt some type of way about it, of like, oh, like, fuck you, like, I'm gonna go home. And I was so gone to where I didn't have, I had zero judgment. So I'm like, I should go drive home right now. And I'm
Oh
like,
shit.
yeah. So I'm like, I should drive home right now. And this is at like 11 o'clock at night. And I remember, I'm not proud of this at all, but I'm just like, this is just what happened. And it's like,
You're
it's
a
a part of
kid.
the story. So I got to tell it. Yeah, yeah. But I remember, so I came to, like, I remember the night in like five different 10-second flashes through a span of like 8 hours, maybe more. But so I left his place, and then I come to of a cop shining his light in my face, and
Oh no.
me standing outside my car, and him going, hello, 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 like, are you okay? And then I'm just like, I snap into it, and I'm like, I act sober for like 30 seconds. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine, like, sorry, like, I'm just tired. And then I look at my car, and my car is in like a parking plaza of like a shopping center, and my car is like up on the grass, like, of this little
Oh
grass area, like, near like the parking lot. And I look down, and I'm wearing one flip flop, and I'm like, I'm obviously gone. Like, I'm
nice.
obviously gone. And then so this is a part of the angel thing that ties back into it. I should have got a DUI. I couldn't have obviously been more out of it. But I think it was like midnight, and it was Riverside, and it was two younger cops, and they kind of just looked at each other, and they're like, I don't like the feeling, the look of like, I don't want to deal with this paperwork. Like, I don't want to deal with this shit right now. Like, if this kid kills himself, he kills himself, like, whatever. Like, they didn't say that, but that was the feeling of
Yeah.
like, we don't want to deal with this.
Wow.
So that was the first, like, holy fuck. I didn't realize it until later of like, of how lucky I was. But it got worse to where I was like, I I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember driving to like some neighborhood, and then driving to a cul-de-sac to where I was like, let me just fall asleep in my car. And then I fell asleep from like midnight to like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I woke up, and I was still in Riverside at the time, and I was like, oh, I'm okay. Like, now I can drive home. Like, now I'm okay to drive home. Like, an hour to get home. So I start driving, and I'm still like pretty buzzed, but I'm not like blacked out, but I'm still a little buzzed.
Yeah.
And then
It
I
takes like fucking 48 hours to shake off a fucking liter of vodka.
yeah, exactly. So, so I, so I wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning in like a cul-de-sac. Like, my car's fine. I didn't hit anyone or anything. I'm like, okay, like, I'm okay. Like, I can go drive home now. So I go to drive home, and it's like 6 in the morning at this time. It's like a, it's like a 30-minute drive. Or I remember, no, I remember, I think the neighborhood where I parked my car was like half an hour away from where I got pulled over. So I somehow drove like blacked out drunk to like a neighborhood, like completely safe. So there's all these scenarios where it's like, I shouldn't be here right now. And so at like 6 in the morning, I wake up to where I'm like, I'm still a little out of it, and I'm like, I'm sleep tired. So I fall asleep while I'm driving on the freeway. And thank God there was no one on the freeway because it
Oh
was
my God.
like 6 in the morning. So I'm like by myself on the freeway, and I wake up to the side of my car smashing into this like the median of the freeway. And it like that completely sobered me up. I was like, holy fuck. And then like I woke up, like straightened out my car, and wheel, like the front wheel corner of the car was like completely wrecked to where it's like I was lucky enough to get it off the nearest exit, but I was like, I can't, like,
Hmm.
I wasn't able to drive it home. And then another angel thing was just my instinct was like, I called the cops of like, I called the cops on myself. Looking back, it's like the dumbest shit. But I was like, I was like, I need to tow my car. And that was just the first thing that came to my mind of like, cops will help me tow my car. And I was still
Not
like,
AAA. Well,
I was still out of it. But a cop comes, I'm like on the ramp of the freeway, and he's like, "Are you like same thing of like, are you okay?" Like, I guess I looked pretty disheveled, so he's like, "Are you okay? Are you drunk? This or that?" He was like, he almost gave me a DUI test, but is same type of energy. I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this right now. And that was like, looking back, that was like the luckiest shit that ever happened to me. But it was such an eye opening, like, obviously I didn't want it to happen, but it needed to happen for me to be like, dude, life, like, you
yeah.
don't fuck with life. Like, I could have killed someone, I could have killed myself. So that's was like, I really started to take life more serious at that point at like 22 of like, dude, you have zero margin to like fuck up. Like, you can't fuck around anymore.
That is really powerful. So now, how does that kind of relate into like what you're creating today, and like what are you like? Are you working daily, weekly, monthly, and you know what does that look like as you're on your current artistic journey?
Yeah, so now I'm just making as many paintings as I can. It started with drawings, and I would do a painting here and there. But now it's like my only focus, my only intention is making as many paintings as I can, as often as I can. Like before I came to Florida, I did like 5 paintings in like 20 hours. But
Wow.
I need
Wow.
that I need that to be like my normal. Because I was at a point where I was like, I would do like 5 to 10 drawings a day, like very intentional drawings, not like sketchbook drawings, but like full drawings. And I was just like, it kept me out of trouble to where I was like,
Hmm.
I was still kind of in a self destructive phase, but just I noticed the more I made art, the less trouble I was in. So I was just
Wow.
like, yeah, I was just like, and I had so much to draw from, and it's like I needed to. It's like it was healing. I guess that's the main word that comes to mind of like why I make art. It's like I'm healing myself because I went through so much at like such a young age to where I was like I need to do a complete 180 of like I need to be like the best version of myself. I need to be like the healthiest version of myself, the smartest, like just a complete 180. And yeah, so I got super serious, and I'm like if you want to be like if you really want to say and be and do everything you want to do, it's like it's an everyday thing. It's like I have to do this every day, all the time. It's like it became the only thing I was thinking about, and it still is. But I'm more focused now than I've ever been. But it started to change when I was 23, I guess 23, I started to like, okay, like I can make a career out of this if I like make this my life. Like if this is my only focus, I don't fuck around, I don't do dumb shit anymore. Like I just focus as much as I can. And that's when it's like that's when I started to really see results of like the more I really try, the more good stuff happens. Because I would like I mean, when I was younger, it was never like career based. It was always feelings based. So I was like, I'm making this right now because I feel like it. But now it's like I'm
Yes.
making this because I have to. Like I have to, I have to, I have to. Like I don't have any other choice. Like I have to.
Wow.
So that's
And
why
to what extent, like in your artistic journey, is like strategy involved in the art world? Like, need to get into this gallery, need to sell to this collector, need to get into this museum, or something along those lines. Like, what is the lens through which you look at that?
that's what I'm dealing with now. I need to get into a gallery, group show, solo show, something. But
Hmm.
I've always kind of felt like I've always kind of felt like the outcast out of the outcasts. So it's like
Wow,
I
that's
just
a crew to be an outcast of.
yeah, it's a blessing in disguise for sure. Of like
Yeah, it's authenticity for sure. Well, it
yeah,
feels as if there is a very regimented group think necessary to be an artist, certain political stances, certain, um, ways of thinking about things um, are
yeah,
almost required in this art world. And like, it's definitely kept me as like an outcast in it, even though I'm not an artist. I admire.
yeah. So a lot of people don't fuck with me. Like a lot of my peers, I mean, a lot of people do, and I'm so grateful. Like I couldn't be more
No
grateful.
doubt.
I have a lot of support. I have a lot of love. Like I'm forever grateful for the support I do have. But at the same time, I think like I could just feel it. A lot of people don't fuck with me because I'm not like a far left liberal. Like I'm not like a conservative either, but I'm not like I don't really care. It's not like it's not a part
Mhm.
of my identity. Like I said
Do
my
politics come? Do
yeah.
politics come into play in your art?
Here and there, but more. I guess it's more spiritual based. I mean,
Mm.
I guess it's the lens at which I look through the world. Like, my dad's conservative, and my mom is like indifferent. She doesn't really care one way or the other. So it's like I'll hear stuff my dad says, and I'm like, I take bits and pieces of it, but I'm like, it's not like I don't care that much because it's like all theater to me. It's like whatever. I mean, but I never
Familiar.
really I don't know. I mean, I have liberal friends, obviously, but it's like I can't pretend to be something I'm not. And I think that's a big part of like being Jewish for me. It's like the, like, obviously a lot of liberal Jews, but the majority of Jews are not liberal because it doesn't align with like lifestyle, culture. It's just
Wow.
it's just not how it is. But, um, but it's like whatever. I mean, there's always going to be people who like you. There's always going to be people who don't like you. It's like it is what it is. It's whatever. But
Mhm.
I've noticed that like it I don't know, the more you are who you really are, the more you're going to draw in similar energy. And I think for a really long time I was like, fuck, like I want to be accepted by these specific people so bad. And it's
Oh,
like
I know.
the more you the more you have that energy, the more like not aligned you are of like because
Mhm.
you're striving for something. You're not just being who you are. You're trying to be something else. And I found that's what I was for a while. Like I would because I could easily not tell people I'm Jewish. Like I don't have a Jewish name. I can I'm not like obviously Jewish looking. And so it's like
Well, you rock the necklace. You had something to say today.
now I am because of shit that I went through. So it's like the Kanye stuff made me more Jewish. The Kanye stuff made me more Jewish of like, damn, there's people who like for real hate Jews. Like I didn't like obviously that's a whole different conversation, But that
Yeah,
kind of started like
that's some tea.
it
Let's
opened
pour
my
some
eyes.
tea.
It opened my eyes of like not just him, but how I guess how people would react to it. I was like, fuck, there's people that like for real hate Jews. Like it's like beyond like I don't like Zionists, I don't like Israelis. Like people like there's people that
Mhm,
for real hate Jews. And that kind of just
mhm.
like I was like, damn, dude, like I have to like it's like I gotta like say it with my chest or like not say shit at all. Cause it's like the more bold you are and the more like you're like fuck it, the more like I don't know, the more I've embraced my Judaism, the more positive shit has happened. And it's
Wow.
like a spiritual test.
Don't tell Kanye.
Yeah. Right? But so that's when I started that's like the Kanye shit is that's when I started wearing my necklace. Cause I was like like I don't I was like I have to. I don't know why. Like I just felt it like I have to. And then um and then and then it would draw in more Jewish people towards me of like, oh, I like your necklace, la la la. And then it's like a spiritual shield for me of like it keeps people away who shouldn't be near me, and it draws in people who should be near me. And so that's a
Wow.
big part of my spiritual thing. But then the most recently, uh, most recently, I went to Israel in March on this program where you can go for 10 days with like a bunch of people your age. So I went, and
Is that called birthright or something like that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you call it birthright, some people will fucking give you a dirty look and like feel like weird about it.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. But I
I'm
yeah
from the
yeah yeah the
like
birthright. It's the birthright trip.
Jewish.
That's what they call it. That's like if you look it up, the program. That's what it's called. I'm not. Yeah. So I went on the birthright trip, and um, I guess I have a spiritual connection specifically to Israel because my grandma was born there and my great grandma was born
Oh,
there. So I'm not just Jewish. It's like there's a direct tie for me to Israel. So
wow.
so I went this past March before all the drama, and I like I had a spiritual awakening. I mean, I've had spiritual experiences before with like doing psychedelics and meditating. I started meditating like a little over 3 years ago, to where I started meditating like almost every single day, like meditating, daily journaling, just like very intentional. And then
Mhm.
so I went to Israel. I had like a spiritual experience that was like out of my control, to where I was like I it's not like I think God exists, I hope God exists. It's like I know God exists. It's like I feel it. Like I'm experiencing it right now. So that was like
Mhm.
that really changed my life just this past March. So I
Wow.
I went and I went to the wall, and it was the second time I've been to Israel. I went when I was 18, when I graduated high school, like the summer 2016. I went on a family trip, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're going to have this crazy spiritual experience. You're going to go to the wall and you're going to start crying, and it's going to be this big thing." And I remember going when I was 18, and I was like, "I don't feel anything. Like I don't get it. Like I didn't get it." And I kind of felt bad about it because everyone was put such an emphasis on it of like you're gonna feel it, you're gonna have an unbelievable experience, and I just didn't feel it. Yeah, I just didn't. I guess I just didn't like have the mental capacity or the spiritual awareness at the time to get it. But I went back this time and I got it of like holy shit, dude. Like
Wow.
I like I don't. It's really hard to put into words, but I felt it big time. Like I went to the wall, I did my prayer, and I just started sobbing like uncontrollably. And I was just like, fuck, dude, like this is as real as it gets. And it's like I felt I felt the energy of just like everything. I don't know. It's so hard to put into words, but I just felt everything. And um so I came back, And I made like a promise to God to where I was like, I'm gonna do like every single thing that I could possibly do to be the best version of myself. So it's like as soon as I got back from Israel, I'm working out like it's my job. I'm started eating like as clean as humanly possible. Like no processed foods, no fried foods, like no bread, like as OCD as I could be about it. Cause I was like, it was just like I had this like mental spiritual map to what's like if you want to be the best version of yourself, these are the things you have to do. Like you don't have an option. So I started, it was like first week of April, I became like very, very, very serious about my health. I mean, I've had ups and downs of like being serious with my health, but it was like this time was like I just took it as serious as I possibly could. So I started with my health. I needed to drop like my intention was to drop like 20 pounds, but then I got to a point where I dropped 20 pounds. I'm like, okay, I could drop another 15 pounds. So I dropped 35 pounds, and
Damn.
yeah, and I'm like, I feel the best I've ever felt. But that was like, thank you. But that was like a necessity for me to be mentally clear. Like I couldn't make my best work and feel like shit. Like it just, I could, if I mean, for some people, it doesn't matter, but for me personally, I just couldn't. I was like, I need to physically and like emotionally, spiritually feel my best in order to make like the best authentic work. So for like 2 months, I wasn't making any art because my only focus was losing weight. So I lost some weight, and then I dropped like 20 pounds, and I started making art again because I'm like, okay,
Wow.
I'm building up my confidence again. And then I and then I got to a point where I was like, okay, like I can see myself becoming a better version of myself, and I stopped. Like I said earlier, I stopped. I was at a point where I didn't drink for like over 2 months, like not a sip, because I was like, I just need to be the best version of myself. And then I stopped. Just recently stopped smoking weed. I mean, here and there I will, but I was at a point where I was smoking weed like literally 24/7. I'd wake up and
I've been
smoke.
there.
I'd smoke before I eat, after I eat, like any situation where I'm doing anything, I'm like, oh, I should smoke before. So it was just like, it was just like, it's not a good point to be like mentally.
Yeah.
Um, so I stopped smoking all the time. I stopped drinking, and I started, I was doing the meditating stuff the past 3 years, but I, I started like when I went on the trip, I went to they gave us like programs of like if you want to be involved in like a Jewish community when you get back home, here's some things you can do. So I started going to Shabbat like every week the past like since early June, and it was like
Wow.
my I just felt like my soul needed it because like I grew up going to Shabbat here and there, but it was like my uncle would do it. Like it wasn't at our house, so it was like we'd go up to LA on Fridays and go do Shabbat, and it was like always this family thing that was just always constant. And then life happens and people get older, and everyone just kind of started to separate towards like we're not really doing Shabbat anymore as a family. People all have their own shit going on. And then I just kind of realized like, damn, like that was such a big part of my life growing up, and I haven't done that in so long. So then I started going to Shabbat of just like like my soul needed it, and I went, and I'm like, this feels right. Like I need to be as close to God as I can, and
Wow.
that was like a big turning point. I still, I go every weekend that I'm free, which is the majority of the time.
That's incredible. And so, where do you go for Shabbat? It's like at a synagogue or at a friend's house?
It's at a rabbi's house. Him and his
Oh,
wife and a bunch of kids, and it's in the Pico area, and
wow.
we they have an Instagram, and I just went and I was just open minded of like whatever happens, happens. And then the rabbi just kept saying so many like very profound, wise things. Like I remember one of the first times I was there, he said like, if you're here right now, it's because you're supposed to be here. And it was just like this wave of like, fuck, like I was right. Like I am supposed to be here right now. Like it was just this like
Mhm.
this overwhelming comfort because I was so used to constant chaos to where I was like, oh, this is normal. Like my life is always crazy. But it was like I was just I was seeking peace and like I found peace to where I was like I need to just like this is very like I need to be calm in order for me to be my best self. I can't be in this like constant like chasing mode. So that really brought me a big sense of peace for sure.
That is incredible. And so, okay, so now we're running out of time. So I just want to ask, what, if anything, would you like to say or shout out or promote on, this show? Talk about.
Uh, Let me think. I don't know. I guess just to anyone going through shit, just like keep going, and like shit gets better, and just believe in yourself and never stop.
That's incredible. And
Thanks.
where do you think you draw that inspiration from God or, other spiritual teachers?
From God for sure, but spiritual in general. The meditation that I did started with Deepak Chopra guided meditations on YouTube. So that's what
Mhm.
really got me into um, like being aware of the spirit world of like yeah. So Deepak Chopra for sure. I started going to like this Buddhist temple like 2 years ago, where I was just like, it wasn't necessarily like Judaism based like spirituality. I started with just like anything spiritual. Like I
Yeah.
just need to feel something spiritual, and then it got to a point where it's like in the spiritual journey, like the further I went, the more I realized I was like, I like my soul is Jewish. It's like I can't not be Jewish. So it's
Mhm.
like it was just like this inevitable thing to where it's like I have to embrace this or else I'm not being my most authentic self.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Autobiography of a Yogi?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, it's cumbersome and a little bit hard to get through sometimes because it's like old language from like written in the 30s or something. But a lot of what you're saying, and we'll save it for, off camera or whatever, but a lot of what you're saying is like really pinging me about this book. So, specifically like how spirituality hit you, um, like kind of how your soul like kind of feels like an old soul that's, gone through many different iterations. You need to read it or listen to it for sure.
Definitely. I'm definitely going to check it out for sure.
So, all right, well, that's it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really, can you tell us your Instagram and, we'll post it, baby.
Yeah. Instagram is just my name, Dylan F. Gallo, DYLANFGALLO.
Any Twitter, TikTok,
I'm
artsy?
off Twitter. I'm on Twitter, but I don't use it anymore because I feel like I get kind of schizo on there, and I'm like, I don't like I should not be sitting with my thoughts this much. Like this is not healthy. So I don't really
I
use
know.
Twitter that much anymore. But Instagram is my main thing. Instagram, Instagram,
All right, cool.
Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you again for
Thank
coming
you
on
so
the
much for
show,
having me,
and
man. I really appreciate it.
no doubt. Have a great day.
Peace out.